up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How is your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going.
And
now make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Instead of supporting the show and doing all of that stuff, just make sure you follow us everywhere, subscribe everywhere, send us a message, leave us a comment, give us a call, 480-331-9846. Send us a question, leave us a comment, and we'll play it on the show. If you guys have an anonymous question, you can send it there too, and we can talk about it here. You don't have to leave your name or anything.
nope. And as you all know, anything goes.
Yup. We is back. Back for another one. What's up, yo?
Yeah. What's up with you?
Man, so...
Tell me something I don't know.
Well, one thing you don't know probably...
What don't I know?
...is that last week I made a clip. And you guys may not know this either. About Jocko's philosophy, his theory of prioritize and execute. Because last week we were talking about how much we had going on and how much we continue to have going on these next couple months.
Right.
I mean, it seems like this isn't going to stop till maybe the holidays.
Right.
It might just
and then
roll
you know how
right.
holidays are.
You know, because we have your retreat and then we have Halloween right after, which is big in our neighborhood. Right. So we're doing stuff for that. And then it's Thanksgiving. Yes. Right. So
and
Thanksgiving's
your mom's
happening.
Moving
my mom's
time,
moving. So last week I made this video about how to get shit done when you have so much to freaking do, you know, and it was about prioritize and execute, just figure out what's the most important, start knocking it out. You make adjustments along the way, right. And you don't make excuses for the things that you have to get done.
Right.
You just get it done.
Right.
You know, and that's what it's been like these last few weeks now.
Yes.
Or month, maybe, whatever.
We had a day trip yesterday. We're not a day trip, but it's an hour and a half away. We went to go visit our friends. They were having
an equinox dinner.
My first equinox dinner. I'm like, what? I'm like, cool. Hey,
let's go.
Any excuse? Let's do it.
Go hang out. Let's go.
Right. And you're talking about, how we've been busy. And I think it's important to also, and I think we talked about this a little bit on the podcast, the last podcast, but as busy as we are, we always find moments in between of just being with each other.
Yeah.
Regardless of how busy we are, even if it's, hey, do you want to go have some coffee and watch the birds for a little bit before we get going? That's what we did yesterday, right? And we just sat there and we were actually going to read our books, but then our daughter came out and started laying with us. And those are the precious moments that are sprinkled throughout our day.
Right.
Right? Just having those moments. And yesterday on our drive, well, first of all, we were driving up there. We had an hour and a half. And we're sitting there and I see that you're in thought, right? And I'm just enjoying the beautiful view. And I'm like, what's up? And you're like, I'm just thinking about, everything that
tomorrow
needs to get done.
I was
on
planning
Sunday.
things out in my head. Yeah.
And I thought when he said that, I was thinking, okay, he's like, tomorrow's already Sunday. This weekend flew by. That's what I was thinking he was thinking. And
the weekend's almost over.
And I asked him, I'm like, hey, stay in the moment, stay in the present moment. Yeah. And you're like, no, that's not what this is. What this is, and it's all good stuff.
Yeah.
It's all good stuff. But you're like, no, I'm just trying to figure out the time we need to wake up in order to get everything completed.
Yeah, the order that things need to get done in. And yeah.
Right. And so, but it's great that we are we help remind each other to stay in the moment when we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
No, and focusing and always remembering what is the most important. Because like you said, yesterday was another busy day. Mm-hmm. You had to go take the kids somewhere. We were driving an hour and a half to a friend's house. I had to get a workout in. I had to do some other stuff too. I can't remember, but it's just stuff going on. But the dinner was also our time. Yes, it was something that we had to go to, or not had to go to, something that for us, we had to go to. We wanted to go to this thing, right?
Right.
We wanted to go hang out with our friends, spend some time, but it was also a time for us to just hang out.
Right. Yeah.
And spend time together and enjoy other people's company. And it's not like a work, because some of these things, it's things like this sprinkled in between editing videos, making calls for the retreat.
Right.
You know, like it's not all the same exact thing, but they're all things that have to get done.
Right.
So making sure that these types of things are also in there and it's not just work.
Right.
Like today, right now, I mean, this is kind of work, I guess, right? We're recording a podcast.
Yes.
After this, we're going pretty much straight. Well, I'm going to try and edit a little bit of a video, go straight to jiu-jitsu because we have our grand opening, record a podcast there, kind of a little bit of work, roll with some of the guys, kind
Friends,
of play a little bit,
chit-chat, hang out. Right. Yeah.
Then we go pick up the kids.
We're going to go hang out with my niece, which I'm excited to do that.
Which is another thing that we're going to go, we want to do.
And that's an hour.
In our eyes, we have to do, that's an hour away. So we go hang out with them. And then it's going to be later in the evening. And we also told Joey that we would like to catch a movie if we can. And that would be a perfect way to end the day if we get that opportunity. But even still, it's going to be go. But we'll be hanging out with our niece, which is awesome.
Right. Yeah.
We'll go to the movies and spend time together, which is awesome.
Yes.
So even at the end of the weekend, we've been doing stuff. At least you feel like I got, you know, it's almost like you're not as exhausted because you feel good about everything that you did, and you still got that time that you needed to get with your family.
Right.
At least for me.
Yes.
At least for me, because if not, then it's just like, then I start getting frustrated throughout the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Because all I want to do is hang out with you guys.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
So during our gathering yesterday, right before dinner, it was really cool. So they set cards up on our plates.
Yeah.
Right. And these were, I don't know, just like icebreaker cards. Right. So my card was, what is something that
what is a
you
truth?
Believe? Yeah. Go ahead. Do you remember?
It was something like what is
what
a
is
truth?
something you believe in that nobody else does? Or
it wasn't even like a belief. It was just a truth. What is something that is true that you believe that most people don't believe?
Right.
Or something like that.
And so I get this card and I'm like, this isn't my card.
Yeah,
this is Miguel's card.
I got like, what's a cool story of a scar you got?
Right.
It's like, I don't know, I got hit in the head with a pipe or something.
See, I read that different though. For me, it was more like, okay, scar within. Like, what is something that I went through that I was able to overcome? Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
That is funny.
Because I was like, I got cut with a box cutter on my knuckle.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
And that's what you thought when you read the card. That is not. This is a great right? This is it right here. It's like reading.
Some people were like, you got hit in the head with a pipe? That was when I was like 10 or like 12.
Yeah. But the difference in what we got from the card. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that is funny. You're like, hey, an emotional scar.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like
Scarface.
And so I'm like, nah, this is your card. I'm like, this is going to be a great conversation. So I swapped cards with him.
Yeah.
And it was
cool. It was it was a really awesome dinner. Just like having all the, you know, the different people there from different places, different experiences, just talk about similar stuff, different stuff, all kinds of stuff.
Right. You can get into deep conversation. You could get, you know,
into funny
fun
shit.
And play.
Yeah.
And no one was drinking. Like, it was just us having a good time, hanging out.
Actually, we were
stories.
drinking. For people that don't drink, if you guys go to Manish, one of our new friends' website, Filters, Philters, Filters, and he's got a version of liquor, like spirits, that doesn't have any alcohol, that tastes like what it is. But not only that, it's got some stuff in it that is really, really good for you. And like I was telling him, like, I mean, it's been a little bit now that I just have cut back on drinking. Not just like, I've made a decision, I'm just going to stop, because I'll have drinks here and there whenever I feel like it. But overall, I've really just kind of stopped drinking for the most part. But I was thinking, like, even now, if I go to a place and everybody's drinking, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I really feel like drinking, but I'm
Right.
hanging out. And it is like a social thing, holding a glass, who's drinking, So this is like perfect for that. Like if you have people over and you have drinks for a bunch of people and some people don't drink, and you have something like this, it's called Filters. It's got a little fox on the bottle, and it's he's got gin, rum, mezcal, and whiskey, and they taste.
Yeah,
They
I
taste
tried
like,
the mezcal.
yeah, they were
last
awesome.
night. Yeah,
I
and
really
there's
like the rum.
benefits
Yeah.
to drinking them.
Yeah, it's got like some nootropics and like some benefits for it. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, it's really good stuff.
Yeah.
I really like the rum and the whiskey. But yeah,
Yes.
Filters with a PH. Check out their website.
And they're located in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah.
He also sells tea. Like he was talking about these herbal teas. So I'm very interested in trying out his herbal teas as well. An incredible couple. And if you want to support a small business and, have something to have at home for those that don't care to drink and it tastes good.
And it is good.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good for you. Like what? Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. So it was, I think at some point last night, we were talking about like what it was like waking, like going out, being younger.
Oh, guilty pleasures.
Is that what it was?
We were going, I brought this up. So this is hilarious. So we're sitting there, right? And we're all about the same age. I would say like 40 plus, right? I think you're 40. Probably the youngest one there. And so we're all sitting and we're going around the table, guilty pleasures. So, name a guilty pleasure. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to everyone and my voice within me is just laughing because I'm thinking, girl, if this was like 20 years ago, right, what would your guys' responses be? Like, that's what, God. And it's hilarious because you and I were like straight up.
Ice cream.
Yep.
Sweets, ice cream.
Right. And I'm like in bed, right? Because that's normally where we have it. And a lot of the other responses were pretty similar.
Yeah.
So after we were talking, that's when I had brought it up. We were in a group.
Ah, okay.
And I just thought it was hilarious. And I brought that up.
Yeah,
and
it would be different.
Name? Yeah. Think about that. Like it's age, how it shifts everything within.
Yeah.
The way you think.
For sure.
The way just there's so much with that.
There's we never mentioned it. You said that I got the card.
Oh yes.
That said, what is something that is true that most people don't believe in, or something like that.
Like don't agree with
don't agree, or that don't agree with you on.
Right.
Something like that don't agree with you.
So I'm like, let's stir some stuff up.
And I said most people will not agree that they are or have been brainwashed in the past and don't realize the many ways that we are all brainwashed.
Right. But we were with a different group.
But this group, like this, because of this group of people, it didn't really need much explanation.
Right.
Because they're like, oh yeah, I get it.
Right. Yeah. It's just the group that we were with are, I would say on a higher consciousness level, more aware, right, of self. And so I knew, like,
they've just had, like sometimes it seems like these consciousness things, like it's a different level and they're over here and we're over there. And levels it's just people that have had different experiences in life.
Yes.
They have different accumulations of knowledge in life. Mm-hmm. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So I figured that would be perfect for you.
What did you just say? It was levels of what?
I didn't say levels. You said levels. I said it was a group that had a higher
enlightenment.
Consciousness. That's what I said. Meaning more aware, more mindful, like of, just what's happening within the world and real and raw. And you can have these tough, these tough conversations and them not get what's the right word?
Offended.
Get offended.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So that's why I thought this would be a perfect topic. This is a card for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what
No, that
did
was
people
good.
say? Like, yeah.
No, everybody was like, yeah.
He asked you what is the
Oh,
one that,
yeah. No, I mean, I said, it's just
what was the question though? He asked you.
like, in what is the biggest one for me, or
Right.
like in what ways have I seen it, or something like that. And I said, I mean, religion, number one, religion. But then, I mean, it just goes on to everything.
Right.
Politics, nationalism, just everything, race, everything.
Right. Right. So that was the conversation that Miguel started. And I knew that would happen. And it was great.
Yep. One thing that also came up, I don't know if you want to get into this right now, but it was that video that you shared.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
I'll figure out how to play this so that you guys can watch this while we're watching it, but we'll share this video and kind of give you our reactions to it, because this also came up yesterday while we were at dinner, just kind of talking about things and, you know, where we're at in our lives and where certain people are at in their lives. And yeah, we'll kind of talk about it after we watch. Actually, go ahead, babe. Do your thing.
Okay.
My bad. I was not prepared.
So Miguel was talking about, or I had mentioned the shift that happens as we get older, right? And a good friend of mine, Steve Hardison, sent me a recording of him. He was at a 50-year reunion, and he was sitting with a gal, a really good friend of his, and he asked her, what are the benefits of aging? You know, and it was funny because she said, well, for one, she's like, you don't have to work. She's like, you get to retire. And of course, this depends on how you set things up in your life. You get to retire. You don't have to work. You get to do the things. You actually get to live life.
Yeah.
And what else? There was something else. And I also thought when I listened to this, it's the wisdom.
Yeah.
You know, if you are that person who is not living in survival mode, and you get the time to really think and sit and question and discover why you feel, do, react in a certain way, if you have the time to review your life. That's where wisdom comes in, I believe. And being around others who have reached that point that you can have a conversation with, that can also help you to see things maybe that you haven't been able to see. But it's having the time to have a life review and ask, what is it? You know, like, that's when the questions start to come up. What do I want in life? Like, what really brings joy to me? Because when you're in survival mode,
you can't think of anything.
You don't have the time to think. You have to do.
Only. That's it. Yeah. It's funny that it reminded me of something that's come up recently. Earlier in the week, Joey helped me change the oil in the car, you know, and we were kind of talking about him doing more stuff around the house, or like fixing the cars and getting paid for that stuff as kind of like ways for him to make money. But way back when he was a little, like, I mean, think he was wearing diapers. The condenser went out for the AC on one of the old cars, and I was working on it, and I had him out there helping me. And this is kind of, I don't know, this just kind of came to me, but like how survival mode is. He was maybe 3, you know, little, and he's got a little ratchet that I give him, a real ratchet, real bolts. He's working on a little car, on a car, and because he doesn't have experience, it's kind of slipping on the end of the bolt. right? So he's pushing on it. And I'm telling him, come on, Papa, pull it. And he's pulling it or pushing it, and he slips off of the thing, and he bangs his knuckles on the condenser or on something else. And if you're a mechanic, you know that hurts. Now, being a 3-year-old, what is a 3-year-old going to do when they smack their knuckles?
Oh, they're going to start crying.
They're going to start screaming. Before he could even start thinking about it, I'm like, here, do this one, do that. And he's like, huh? What? And I'm like, here, take this one off. He doesn't even have time to think about what just happened to him. He can't process anything because he's got to move on to the next thing. And that's what survival mode is. You have no time to process shit. And that's what I did to him.
Wow.
And what is going to happen if I just let him sit with the pain of smacking your knuckles? You know what? You might, even at 3, he might learn.
What could have you
that
done
actually
different?
could teach
What
him at 3 years old without saying anything.
Right.
Which is crazy to even think about at this point, right?
Yes. That's it. You just summed up parenting. Seriously. Because it's so hard to see your babies hurt themselves. Yeah. Right? But you have to allow them to fall. You have to allow them
to feel it.
And to come out of it. What could you have done different? Ask the questions. Get them to think about it. Right?
Yeah.
Allow them to sit with the emotion. What could you have done different next time?
Yeah, don't push it so hard. And as a 3-year-old, he probably learned it. He could have learned it right there on the spot without any words.
Right.
Smack your knuckles. That freaking hurt. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna be careful pushing it that hard. And you don't even have to tell that to a 3-year-old. They just know.
Right. But but they don't have the awareness. I don't know. I can't say that. I don't know at that age because they're brilliant. But to bring it to someone's awareness, right? To get them to see and to understand what just happened.
What if instead of move on to the next one, it's okay.
Right.
You're okay. You're a strong boy. You're a very strong boy. This is nothing.
But allow him to say, I know your knuckle hurts.
Yeah.
Like, I know it hurts. Like,
but
allow him to feel it.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're okay. You're a really strong boy.
What could you have done different?
You're way tougher than smacking your knuckles a little bit.
Right.
Right? That could change that.
But not allowing it to suppress the feeling.
Right.
Right? Because another
it's almost
way
like
to
running
do
from it.
Yes. Because another thing that we do as parents that we have done as well is, come on, get up. You're fine.
That's every parent.
Right? Yeah, you're fine. Stop crying. Imagine that. Like, for real. Stop crying. You're fine.
It's fucking
Stop being a baby.
It's fucking crazy, this shit. You dust it off. It just fell off of the bed of a pickup truck and shit.
You were very good with not being that. I was the
one.
Come on, you're fine.
You were very good at laughing.
I would laugh. Yeah.
The kids would fall down. Sonja's sitting there.
Because they would do the stupidest shit, though. They would do some funny stuff. Like, and I would just laugh, and Miguel's over there. Oh, come here.
They're picking up the pieces.
It's kind of like what we were talking about last night when Joey was first playing the trumpet.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Anyway, so let's get to this video. I got it set up. But, this is about like changing things through generations. And it has to do with that being in survival mode. So let's get into it. Oh, let me start this over.
Pain travels through generations, often referred to as generational trauma or generational curses. This represents your grandparents. It may not have started with them, but we're going to start with them. they had some form of pain or trauma, whether it was handed back down from their parents or they endured it themselves. But either way, unintentionally, they passed it on to your parents.
Unintentionally.
Because they didn't know any better. It wasn't their fault, whether it was lack of resources or knowledge. And this represents your parents, who passed it on to you for the same story and the same reason, unintentionally. They didn't know any better. But now there's you. You have one of two options. You can either pass it down to your daughter or son, or it can end with you. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to come with a plethora of failed relationships, of just not understanding why you feel different, why there's so much pain and suffering that you feel like you have to heal from, and a lot of it isn't your fault. But guess what? Trauma isn't your fault, but it's your responsibility to heal from it. And eventually, you'll be able to love yourself, appreciate life, and realize the fact that it might have ran in your family until it ran into you. It's not easy, but it is possible.
Yeah, that's what the hell? Yeah, that's pretty incredible when you really think about it. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit in the past, and it's funny how things all kind of relate in different ways. You know, because in one way this has happened throughout history. Like, in the beginning of agriculture is, I think, I don't know if it's the one that first happened, but it's one of the first times that I know that it happened. You know, if you just think of the origins of people scavenging for food, trying to find food to eat, and then somebody figures out farming. And it's like, wow, we can grow a lot of stuff and we don't have to be starving all the time. So when you have a little bit more food and you don't have to be looking for food all the time, you have a little bit of time to think when your belly's full.
Right.
When your guts don't freaking hurt, when you're not chasing shit down all the time. Maybe you lay down and look at the stars and your belly doesn't hurt and you can think about what is happening up there. Where did we come from? Did we come from up there? You know, so when you start asking all these questions is when you start to learn some, or you start to maybe figure some things out or learn some things or be aware of some things. But when you don't have, when you're not at that point or at that, I don't know if you want to call it level or whatever, but of enough sustenance and shelter and whatever, you can't think of anything else but surviving. And if you think about living in the hood and being from other countries and moving to another country, like, I've thought about it for myself on a different scale. Like with my dad, I'm the first generation that was born in this country. You know, like my grandfather was born in Puerto Rico. My grandmother's from Spain. My mom was born in Spain. My mom's side of the family was all born in Spain and they came here. And it wasn't like they were poor or anything like that. But my dad's side of the family didn't have a lot of money. He came here from Ecuador, came to fight, moved to New York. I lived with my dad. And there's a lot of things that you could just blame. You could just blame, like, oh, they could have did this better. They could have did that better. But it's like, dude, they came from other places and started a life here. Like, if you really think about that, how's it going in your life? Like, is everything going out the way you planned? Like, how much progress did you expect to make in your generation, right? They came here from a different country and did the best they could. Like, one of the things that I always remember, like, my dad always had hustles. And I was always like, my dad never really had, like, a legit hustle where he turned it into a big business type of thing, but he always had that ambition. And it's like, look at where he came from. That is, it's like almost kind of like looking at like, how come you never could turn it into something? Right?
Right.
But it's like, dude, he was doing everything he could with what he knew.
Yes.
If he was born here, then maybe he could have had a fucking corporation.
Right.
But he's playing the fucking hand he was dealt.
Trying to figure it out.
Right?
Right.
And
Yes.
me having the opportunity that I've had, being able to go to school here, being able to learn, pick up skills in the military, make more money, and sit down and watch birds with you and the kids and just spend so much time contemplating life that it's changed things.
Right.
We're not struggling to survive.
Right.
And it allows us to think about everything and how we're raising our kids and why things are the way they are and where we want things to go for the future. How many people are thinking about that stuff?
Right. And sometimes people have the time,
Yeah.
but they don't want to feel the pain. And that's when numbing comes into play. You
Yeah,
know?
because if you want to,
It takes courage. It really does take courage, because
you have
the
to face
journey
everything.
is not easy, right? And you have to take responsibility. You have to take responsibility for your life. There's no more blaming mom, dad, or the neighbor. Like it's time to take responsibility.
Yeah. At what point are things going to change? Kind of like this guy was showing in the cups. Like everybody's got their own stuff.
Right.
But if you're listening to this and you get this, I think that's it. If you get it, you are it.
Right.
If you get it, you are it. You are enlightened enough to be the one to make the change for the rest of your entire family.
Right.
But it's not easy. You have to face shit. You have to, our friend Larry Smith mentioned this one time, and I never forgot it. But it was about network marketing and how, like, for those of you that are experienced with network marketing and multi-level companies and that sort of thing, like one of the things that they always talk about is, the people at the top make all the money and it works from here to there or whatever. But one of the big selling points is that this stuff is extra money that you can use to spend and have a great time. And little by little, you can buy back the time that you have with your family and trade what you're working, and you'll be free. Mm-hmm. Freedom is like one of the biggest selling points is like free time. You can make money and have
Residual.
Free time.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that he told me was that if you look at successful families, there was always a generation that had to sacrifice. Like, it's just not real that you're just going to have it all just like that.
Right.
There is sacrifice. And oh man, it's so fucking hard, because now I'm thinking about us sacrificing everything to make everything easier for our kids, and then they have it easier. And it is a sacrifice. It's fucking work no matter what, but it's worth it.
And you don't have to they don't have to have everything handed to them.
That doesn't mean that you're a good parent.
Teach them.
Right.
You know what they're going to remember? They're going to remember the time that they spent with us.
They're going to remember the lessons that we taught them.
Yes. So there's a balance. Isn't that crazy though? Like, yes, there's going to be a generation that's going to have to sacrifice. But what are they going to have to sacrifice? Right? Because back then I was thinking money, like the change. But we are doing so much with our mental, like just the healing, the things that we're releasing and letting go, and working on ourselves, that our children are not going to be so traumatized. I'm sure there's going to be some.
There's always.
Right.
Nobody gets out of childhood unscathed.
So the work that we've been doing has been within that space, but also, financially as well, right? Because there's so many areas that are involved with that, what you just mentioned, right? But the quality time, that is something that is very important to us. Our family is our priority. And so to gain riches and not have the memories and the moments, worthless.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. It's just not.
Yeah.
Right? It's just not.
There's something that I was just thinking. But before we get into that, make sure you guys go to our website, follow us on all of our social media. Yeah, Opposites Attract podcast on everything. You can search us on all the different social medias. Opposite Pod, if you just look at our handle at Opposite Pod. You can find us on Instagram, on TikTok, X, all that stuff. Look for our clips channel on YouTube, Opposites Attract Podcast Clips. It's the same logo. It's just got the red on it. And yeah, find a clip, share it with somebody else, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. It really, really helps. Yeah, share this with somebody else. Have them subscribe and tell them about it. We really appreciate it.
Share a clip. Share a podcast.
And yeah, if you go to our website and you click on the Support the Show tab and you guys want to help us out, Halloween's coming around. If you guys are buying decorations, anything that you guys purchase through Amazon, if you click through our link on our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com, support the show tab, and you shop through that Amazon link, it'll help us out.
And it won't cost you anything extra.
Yep. So, what were you just saying?
Regarding
Damn it.
I remember. So we were talking about the time spent with the kids. You know, like if Larry Smith was talking about how
like how there's a generation that has to sacrifice.
Right. And it's like, what are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice, you know, the time, right? The memories, the moments that really are important for us, right?
Well, what I was thinking was we were watching this video just now about generational curses, right?
Or patterns.
You know, and there's this thing that keeps coming up for me. Like, you like to call them generational curses, or you have called them generational curses in the past. And you know me, I steer clear of anything that has to do with anything that is just not explainable. And a curse has a spiritual thing aside to it. I don't believe in curses. But you know what I believe in? Human nature. This is human nature. That's what human nature is. That's what these generational curses are. It's humans being fucking human.
It's things that are passed down from one generation
it's
to
just
another,
who
where
we are.
It's a limited belief, a fear, a doubt. It's just all those things.
It's how we're programmed. That's how we are. Now, the thing is that I think that if you're not aware of these things, that's exactly what they are. You know, like if you're living in the south side of Chicago and you're in the hood, you're on welfare, your brothers are gangbangers, they go to jail, they get in trouble, they run into the police, you probably run into the same shit, you get some girl pregnant, the same shit happens, that kid ends up born in the same thing. You're in survival mode. You have no time to do anything, right? But for us, like, and that's one generational curse. There's financial generational curses, right? There's alcoholism. There's all kinds of different stuff, right? We're talking about finances. At least when it comes to finances, we have figured out, like, we haven't figured it all out.
No.
But we've become aware of it all.
Right.
Maybe not all of it.
Some of it.
But we've become aware enough. To the point that we understand debt. We understand investments. We understand what we do and what we don't want. We may not be experts at it, but we know enough to teach our kids differently. Right? So whether we change things in our generation, things have a way better probability of changing in the future, because our kids, if we don't like just completely like lock this shit down, they'll finish it up.
Right, right.
But if we never had that awareness, guess what happens? We die with a bunch of credit card debt, with a bunch of cars, with a bunch of bullshit that we leave behind to our kids.
To pay
they get
off.
stressed out. They're always asking us for money. We're borrowing money from them and from other people. They're borrowing money from people. And it continues. And then their kids see that. They think it's normal. They continue. And it just doesn't stop.
Right.
You know? So I think, at least in our case, just having the awareness, you don't have to like fix everything. But if you have the awareness and you're open about the communication, you talk to the kids about it. We talk to our kids about it all the time, you know, and these are important conversations. Like, really, these are some of the most important conversations when it comes to living life. I mean, money, love, sex, like a lot of these things that we just never fucking talk to people. Like, I don't remember really my grandmother talking to me about money a little bit. I don't really remember my dad talking to me much about money. I don't remember anybody talking besides my grandmother. I don't really think I remember anybody talking to me about money. Besides my grandmother, I don't remember anybody talking to me about sex either, really.
Yeah. And I can only imagine when she...
Oh, my God. She would have me fucking watching like the Spanish Jerry Springer on Univision. Oh, fucking people fighting and throwing down. Like, you don't want to be like that motherfucker. He's got 6 girlfriends. Look at him. I'm like, oh, shit. That looks like trouble.
That's right. I remember you.
You fucking come out throwing chancletas and shit.
Oh my God. That's so funny. She's like, sit down. Watch this.
Yeah,
learn.
Freaking crazy.
That's hilarious. But yeah, these are all the things that, we become aware of when we have time, when we start questioning. And so when Steve Hardison sent me that video, I had responded to him and I'm like, and wisdom, right? But it's like, I guess everyone, because wisdom, does everyone come to a point in their life where they become more aware, more awake?
No.
Do you understand?
No.
Like wisdom, because you know how you would always hear wisdom comes with age, but is that true for everyone?
No. I mean, it's always, like, I always just kind of think about it. The answer is no, because if you get shot, what happens?
Yeah.
It's over.
You learn a lot of what not to do. But the thing is, if you are feeling so much pain from regret that you never voice or step into that regret to clean it up, then you
die
pass with that regret.
That's terrible.
Right.
Yeah, that happens, I'm sure.
Yeah. And that is the lack of wisdom.
And there might be where the generational curse gets
passed down
because it was never addressed.
Right.
And I think, I don't know what it is. What is it about, like, if you were to think, like, I always kind of like try to break things down to their simplest form. Like, if we just happen to be on this planet right now and we didn't have all the fucking shit that humans have, right? Mm-hmm. And I was in like a little loincloth and you got a little fucking zebra something covering your titties or whatever, it's like,
we wouldn't be doing a podcast.
Like,
we'd be doing each other.
No, we'd be looking for fucking food. I'd be like, check under that rock. But
pulling me by my hair.
Pulling with my club.
We were just talking about that, hitting you over the head with a freaking bat.
Boonk. But like, life, if you think about, like, that is how life is. Like, we watch the show Alone on Netflix, right? That's what these guys are doing. They're out there in the middle of nowhere making it fucking happen, living, right? And you look at what they do and how fucking hard that is.
Right.
Why is it that life, to survive, is that fucking difficult? But as humans, all we want is comfort. Is like none of that. I want all the food. I don't want to feel any like that. We want, like, that's the fucking, it's inside you. I just want to be fucking chill. I don't want to do none of this shit. But life is fucking hard.
It is.
Why is it so opposite? And the more you fight it, the harder life is for you.
Maybe it wasn't supposed to be that, but after Eve bit the apple. No.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be living in a garden.
Yeah.
With all this amazing, beautiful fruit and yummy stuff. And then Eve went and bit the apple and now
jacked it all up.
And maybe that's why inside we just want to be that, because that's how we were created. That's some funny stuff right there. I just answered it for you. Eve bit the apple, man. But the reason why it's in our nature is because that's how we were supposed to live. And that's why women, we go through so much, because Eve bit the apple. That's why we go through our menstrual cycle.
Nah, that's why we're in this
That's
situation.
why we go through
because
our...
Eve bit the apple,
Right.
and she was told not to.
Oh, no.
Fuck shit up for everybody. If you believe that.
Oh, that was just funny, though. That was good. Why is it that we just want to have it all easy? Well, because it was supposed to be that.
That is actually, what was it? I can't remember who I was talking to or what I was listening to, but it's like the explanation for God, like the reason why we have to have God or the need for that.
To believe in something bigger than us.
It's just if you believe what I believe, we're out in this motherfucker by ourselves, flying through space on this rock, just little fucking specks of meat. There's nobody coming. And it's like people want that comfort, the figure, like the protection of a father, of a parent, that everything is going to be okay.
Maybe for some, that's not why
That is a lot of,
I
I'm not saying you, I'm saying a lot of people have a feeling like this.
Yeah, it gives them a sense of hope that
somebody's looking over them, right? That's just an idea. That's just an idea. It doesn't have to be reality. I mean, I don't know if you guys can get that. That it can be just an idea that somebody thought. It doesn't have to be how things are. That somebody is watching over. Somebody does have my best interest in mind. My daddy is watching and will take care of me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. Hey, we were talking about, what was it? Our Hispanic throwing chancletas, watching the Univision. Have you seen? You probably haven't seen it. Trump came out with a ad to target like us, pretty much, our people's Hispanic.
Really?
His Hispanic.
Shut up! I have not seen.
You haven't seen it?
No.
Let's see what you think about this. This is Trump's new.
Is it real? First of all.
Okay, here we go.
I have a great playlist. I have a playlist that's...
So funny.
There you go. He's appealing to the Hispanic people. He's got our vote now. Sometimes it's just that easy. You know, you just say a couple words in Spanish and then you get my vote. Some people think that way.
Yeah.
But in the beginning of the podcast, you were talking about getting offended. Like we were hanging out with this group that, you know, after a certain point, there's like, after a certain understanding, it's like people have all kinds of different beliefs. People believe all kinds of different stuff. People are allowed to believe whatever they want to believe. There's reasons why people believe certain things. Sometimes there's not reasons why people believe certain things. But at the end of the day, it's all okay. And when you really understand that, like, there's not much that offends you. I've told you that there's something that's come up for me recently, and I've talked to one of my brothers about it. It's like, I feel that if there is something that you can be offended by, it's a sign of an attachment to something, to some type of belief and ideology of something. If I was in the military, and if I was to talk a bunch of shit and disrespect the military, and if that fucking makes your blood boil and makes like there is no, It not to say even disrespectful stuff. If I started criticizing things that may be legit, and you start getting angry or having feelings or getting defensive, it's a sign of something, that something's going on. If we're talking about religion and I'm asking you questions and you start getting mad at me or it starts making you have feelings, then it's a sign of something. If I'm talking to you about the Pledge of Allegiance and how I don't want to do it because of this and that, and you're like, well, then you're not an American. Then you're not, then you need to get the fuck out of my country. It's a sign of something, right? And it's also a sign of not accepting what is and other possibilities, you know? And talking about generational curses and everything, just everything that we've been talking about on this podcast. Another thing that came up was Jocko's book. Dang, wrapping it all up. Started with Jocko, ending with Jocko, all of it. But one of his books was Extreme Ownership. And I just had it was a leadership book about how to do well in business. But his books aren't just business. Like, you can apply everything that his kids' books. But this book, Extreme Ownership, has a lot of great lessons. And like, I thought about just the title and who Jocko is. Like, he is just that extreme ownership on everything. If it's my fault, I take ownership for it. If it's your fault, I should have known better. I'll take ownership for it. Everything you take ownership for. Extreme ownership, whether you like it or don't like it. That's the thing, is that ownership is, if you don't like it, you don't get to change it. You have to accept it and move forward with it. It is what it is. That is extreme. If you think about extreme ownership, it is what it is. Accept it. Right? And I think that is when you don't have these attachments and you don't have these, when you understand that beliefs can be different and that everything can be different, you don't have these emotional attachments to things. And you can just take ownership. And like we were talking about.
That's freedom.
Yes, that's freedom.
That's inner freedom. That's freedom.
And like what we were talking about.
That's how peace is created.
With those cups is the generational curses that were passed down from your grandparents to your parents to you. And if you're listening and you have that awareness, then you are the first, because you're not in survival mode, the first generation that has the opportunity to take extreme ownership for everything that has happened in the previous generations. And it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks to take ownership of shit that you did not do. But that's what leaders do. That's what people who grow do. And that can change everything going forward.
Right. Yeah. When I look back at our relationship and everything that we have uncovered, I mean, there is so much that was uncovered. At least for me, like, I just...
Yeah, for both of us.
Yeah. And having to step into that extreme ownership of self, like looking in the mirror, recognizing it, sitting with it.
Accepting it.
You know, a few people have mentioned like our relationship and where we are today. And I share with them, if you would have saw us 10 years ago, you wouldn't recognize us.
Yeah.
We were very different people back then. And the love that you see today has been work.
Everything, in every way.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically. You wouldn't recognize us.
And it took one of us to wake up. That it took one of us. Because I hear a lot in relationships like, well, he won't, or he's not willing, or I did not get your buy-in when I made the decision that I was going to own my shit, that I was going to look in the mirror and not blame you, but look in the mirror and what can I do?
Right.
What can I do?
Yeah. And that's when you decided that you were just going to wear me down.
Love you.
That's what I said. That's what I said. Wear me down with love.
Unconditionally love you.
Yeah.
And what's so crazy is that like you not believing in God is what changed our relationship, because it was see him as Jesus sees him, love him as Jesus loves him.
You see, that's right? Where that's the thing. If you always say God is love, and if you would have said God is love, I would have said yes.
Yes.
But as soon as you start adding more stuff to it, then I'm out.
God, you're not out. You're still here.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no.
You understand the complication of it though. You understand that I understand it on a different level.
When you say that though,
it's complicated.
It is complicated because you're just sharing with everyone that there must be something there if you were feeling a certain way.
No.
Okay, but let's not get into that. So for God, that is what changed me.
Yeah.
That spiritual experience that I had changed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I surrendered. And reading the Bible,
like it says in the Bible,
changed me.
Yeah.
Like just crazy enough, just saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe the way I believed back then, but that is what changed me. That's the shift that took place within me.
Yeah.
In order to create what we have today.
Yeah. I think the Bible should be called the Big Book of Human Nature.
The Big Book of
right. That's what it should be called. But I was just thinking, you were just mentioning that it took one of us, right?
Right.
And I mean, I've told you before, that you are the reason that I am who I am, right? Like you wore me down, love me enough to change me. She fixed me.
wore you.
She fixed me like she intended, like she planned from the very beginning.
You weren't broken.
Like she planned from the very beginning.
You weren't broken.
No, but I wonder if that's how, like if that would be the way, if it was to happen, if that's how it would happen more often than not.
What do you
I'm saying the dude being stubborn, because I don't, maybe, what if you divorce me and said enough with this shit? Would I be a fucking alcoholic somewhere, or like working hard but just fucking spinning in circles, or like what the fuck?
I think you would have found yourself.
Maybe. I don't know. But it took you. And I just wonder, like, if that's for men or for people, or like what, and maybe that's not the only way. I'm sure that that's not the only way. There has to be other ways that people have shifts in mindset. Shit, maybe you almost die, and that happens for you.
Right.
There has to be different ways.
Oh, there are.
But maybe this is one of them, where the husband is stubborn. Just so many people just focus on work, going to work, coming back. And I was working like crazy back then. You focus on all the problems. You have all this trauma from the past. I don't want to talk to my wife. I just want to fucking make it to the next day, go to bed and wake up the next day. Until your wife just wears you down with love. And then you're like, wait a minute. What is happening here? I'm sure that's one way. That was my way.
And that way just worked for us. And it was not easy.
No.
Like I share this with women and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, and just seeing you and really understanding men as well, like understanding the stressors that men are under, being the provider, right? Being the protector, and all these pressures that are on our men.
Yeah.
And seeing that and being the loving, nurturing wife to attend to those emotions that you don't even know how to express.
Yeah. There's something that's happening today. Maybe we can get into it a little bit more on the next podcast. But I think this also affects things, is how easy or how common it is to just give up on relationships. Because how are you supposed to grow through things? I mean, that's how you build your foundation.
Yeah.
Right? If as soon as like he doesn't do what you wanted him to do, or I'm going to go fucking find a new man, or,
Babe,
she's fucking nagging me all the fucking time. And
was
this
I
and
not who you're
Yeah.
describing right now?
I get it.
But I was, right? I was her.
Right.
I was throwing divorce at you. I remember. Like, I would
get
talk
it.
about it. Like,
But what I'm saying is that it's common today to just be like, I'm fucking done. I'm out.
right.
Like me. I would be like, you talking about what? I thought we were going to be together. You know what? I'm going to go find somebody who's serious about this shit. I'm out. And then, or you'd be like, you know what? He's fucking this. He's lazy. Always fucking. You know what? I'm out. I mean, there's a balance, right?
Yeah.
But it does seem like the balance has shifted in one direction, where it's like any fucking little, like, dude, look in the fucking mirror. You're perfect. You fucking kicking everybody out. Like, it's
right.
like,
and that
we
was
could all
me.
use some fucking help.
Right. And then that was me. Like, I was sharing with a friend. You would not have recognized me back then, because I was short in that way. I was short. And it's funny because my mom witnessed it. She lived with me when I was in a previous relationship. And she saw how cold I got when I was done. Like, just cold. Like,
Yeah.
right?
Disconnected.
Yes. And with you, I would mention it. I would throw it out there. But it was just different.
Before we get out of here, because we got to go, like I said, record a fighting podcast. I got to go fight with my friends. Yesterday, we went to this Equinox dinner with our friends. And it's all, it's astrologically, themed and all this stuff. And I didn't mention it yesterday, but it came up in my mind. And maybe I'll mention it next time we go and hang out with them or whatever, because it's a good time to mention it. But the way I see things, and the way I see things with you, I do feel is really special, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of just thinking about everything that's happened through human history and us being alive right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty special. And all the billions of people that have been around is pretty special. And there's 5 billion people on the planet right now. And like I said, I don't have this belief that there is somebody watching over us. Like, I feel that we're alone in this thing, flying through space. And the fact that I found you to do this thing with me, and we only get one chance at it, that's pretty special.
Thank you, babe. I feel the same
There's
way.
no other way for me to explain. I just see it like fucking planets just flying through an abyss. And we're just holding on together. Doing this thing.
And I feel that we were brought together to do this thing together.
Yeah.
You know?
Love you, babe.
Love you too.
off to the next podcast. Make sure you guys go listen to my other podcast, Fighting for Your Life. Make sure you guys hit Sonja up for coaching. She's also got a retreat coming up.
October 25th through the 27th in Pine Top, Arizona.
Yeah, get a hold of us. Send us a message. Send Sonja a message. Thank you for being with us.
Yes, thank you guys. Yeah, thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract podcast.
Where we get better
Together.
Bye.
Bye.